Good morning. Well, literally they're making big moves, and volunteers hope that these big moves will let students know that there is help out there. Normally a single call wouldn't cause such an aggressive response as the one earlier today. On managing their money for the first time, it can be much harder. An ID, they need a certified birth certificate with a raised seal. The list was created fairly and has no political bias. A lot of groups, hundreds, and more created every day. The study found 2/3 of students scoring above average. Runs about $800 a bedroom, and it gets even higher from there. But is this the right thing to do? Not everyone thinks so. But for students having a more difficult time with the issue, it shouldn't be the only way. The deadline already passed. It was March 31st, but the application process is still ongoing. Yeah, if there happen to be leftovers and you're lucky enough to be passing by to help raise some money, you can find a link to their website on our website, myfoxaustin.com.
Rachel?
That's right. Researchers have been giving students narcissistic personality tests for 25 years. But this year, they found something new. The study found 2/3 of students scoring above average. Me. A recent study shows more college students are, well, thinking of themselves.
Well, maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it shows that people our age are more confident now, and maybe not so much narcissistic, but confident.
The study from San Diego State University began in 1982 and has included more than 16,000 students. This year, 2/3 of students scored above average, a 30% increase since 1982. So why the increase of narcissism? Some students think pop culture and websites like MySpace might be part of the problem.
You have a whole webpage that's about you, and so I think you spend a lot of time thinking, how do I want to present myself to everyone else?
Caring for yourself, it's, I think, part of nature, it's natural. Just as long as you don't exceed the limit, I don't see anything wrong with that.
But other students say they shouldn't get carried away.
If you're too far one way, you get stepped on, and if you're too far the other way, then you start stepping on people. So there's a balance somewhere in there.
The study might not be limited to students. UT student Gabriel Boyd says it might apply to all of us.
And so I think it's the society as a whole. I think people, as a rule of thumb, just feel a lot more self-empowered and self-righteous than they have in the past.
There is a flip side to all of this. Researchers say narcissists are much more likely to have failed romantic relationships that lack honesty and fidelity. College faculty say they're skeptical of the study. In their teaching experience, they haven't seen students behaving differently. Others disagree with the negative stereotypes.
Rachel, how about those side effects? Any negative or positive?
Negative, they react aggressively to criticism and lack empathy. Positive, self-confidence, self-worth.
So 2/3 it was up on this new one. What was it before?
Well, before in 1982 in the original study, it's gone up 30% since then. So
that's significant. Oh, a third leap. I like it.
Narcissism.
I want to take that test. We should give it to everybody here. See how we fare. Have you taken it?
I haven't taken it. On April 12th, the Young Conservatives of Texas, or YCT, put out a list of UT professors they deemed dangerous.
The Young Conservatives of Texas felt that too many professors were using the classroom as a tool of indoctrination, and so we started the list to combat that so students could be more aware of which professors they were enrolling in their classes for.
The list of 11 professors has been called a liberal blacklisting by critics. But YCT says their list aims to be nonpartisan.
What doesn't warrant a professor being on the list is simply his political opinions. We don't want a professor, we're not going to put a professor on there simply because he's liberal or simply because he's conservative. It's only whenever a student feels like they can't speak up and speak their mind in class, where free speech is being stifled, that sort of thing.
Professors are considered for the list by student submissions and are then checked out by members of YCT. The Young Conservatives say the list was created fairly and has no political bias, but students have opinions from both sides of the fence.
In America, we have, freedom of making opinions and projecting those opinions.
I've never run into any professors that actually put out that kind of vibe, so it really hasn't affected me, and I don't think it's very fair either that they're putting out this list.
Everyone has their own opinion. I feel it's a very diverse campus. No one should have to get in trouble for their beliefs.
Dana Cloud, a professor added to the list this year, says she's not surprised she's on the list, but thinks the list is unfounded.
But what we see this as being is a new McCarthyist witch hunt, basically, that is designed to discredit and harass critical left-wing progressive intellectuals off of our campus.
Cloud, who was also on conservative David Horowitz's list of the 101 most dangerous professors in America, says she does have strong views, but would never let it affect her teaching.
I'm a very ethical teacher and a very good teacher, and I think all of my colleagues on that list are. There is a difference between activism and politics and teaching, but we're all really well aware of that.
The list is here to stay, but says there will be some changes next year to address some of the criticism. The group says it also has a list of honor roll professors who the YCT believes are doing a great job in the classroom.
So let's go to this honor roll. Any liberals on this list?
There are liberals on the list.
I bet not many.
There's one that outwardly states their views, but most of the professors on the list, YCT picked them because they remain pretty neutral.
And so you've had some of these professors that are on the list, and do you concur? Do you agree?
You know, the one that I did have that's on the list didn't seem to push his views onto me. I mean, his views were obviously liberal, but it didn't seem to affect his teaching.
All right. Rachel,
how long have they been doing this?
Since 2004. Many UT students like to party. Even the Princeton Review ranked the school #1 when it comes to partying. And senior Michael Markovic knows that firsthand.
I came into UT and was kind of like lost because it's such a big school, and I got into a lot of like the party scene, drugs and alcohol.
Michael, who's been sober for 16 months, is one of 25 students who is currently getting help from the Center for Students in Recovery, or CSR. After getting into trouble on campus, he was referred to the center, where they helped him temporarily withdraw from school and put his life back together.
Drugs, I've always had negative consequences with drugs and alcohol, but it just sort of became overwhelming. It became very unmanageable and uncontrollable, and just all of a sudden, and I was like hopeless. I didn't know what to do.
Recovering addict Laura Jones Swan is the coordinator for the center. She also teaches a recovery and relapse prevention class.
One of the biggest challenges for students on campus is learning how to manage the alcohol and drugs that are available, and especially for a person in recovery or a person wanting to get in recovery, you know, that's very difficult.
Laura says it's also very difficult because the center doesn't have a home. But that is all about to change. This basement is the future home for the center. Students will be able to come here for their meetings and rehabilitation. UT junior Brittany Sawyer started drinking when she was just 8 years old. Now that she's a recovering alcoholic, Brittany says she looks forward to helping students at the new center the same way other students helped her.
This time last year, I didn't think there was any hope. I didn't think that, you know, life was worth living. I thought it was going to be this, you know, vicious cycle of, you know, misery for the rest of my life. And to be able to reach out to someone and let them know that it does get better and that it can, you know, that you just have to do a few simple things is really amazing. That makes my day any day.